Indiana obviously being their first scrimmage, they want to see what they have and what they don't. For Kentucky, they have a little bit of what they know, what they don't, because they've played in 2 scrimmages. One of those scrimmages, the first one against Xavier, they actually lost, which you know, in the actual season, that would have been a massive upset. But in the spring scrimmage, you're just trying to get, you know, everything out of sorts and, you know, trying to figure your team out. They ended up winning their second scrimmage against Dayton in 3 sets.
That one being close to fans as Krichkovich is going to get it underway for the Hoosiers in this spring volleyball season. Received on the opposite side, blocked, kept alive, over to Indiana, and the point will go to the Hoosiers. A double hit is called, and Indiana gets the first point this afternoon.
And that's the middle blocker, and Ella Borsema getting in the action right there, getting the first point for the Hoosiers on the spring season.
And Borsema, her first action in a long time. She hurt her leg in the matchup at Gamebridge against Purdue last season and wasn't seen for the rest of the season as that serve goes long to even us up back at 1.
Yeah, back at 1 we go, and this is a Kentucky team who was really, really solid beyond the service line last year. One of their many strengths and why they were one of the best teams in the country.
For the Hoosiers, it'll be interesting to see how they fill the gaps. The 3 seniors, Maddie Sell, Candela Alonso Cortez, and Avery Tatum, those last 2 huge holes they will have to fill, but they had a lot of freshman talent last season, make a lot of impact. Krichkovich across, tapped way long, and no touch. The point will go to Kentucky. Over on the far side, that was Vincent. Getting some of her first full action. She came in mostly just for serves last season.
A little bit too much mustard on Vincent right there, who comes from a very heavy volleyball family. Her sister just graduated from Ball State.
That one just dug out, kept alive by Krichkovich. Borsema, it gets tapped, and it's free for Kentucky. Near side, that one's blocked. Still alive. In the middle, it'll be a free ball for Indiana. Krichkovich, that one's blocked. That was a chance from Dom. Dom again will get it across, but it goes wide out. And another point for Kentucky. They have 3 in a row to go up 3-1.
There's a great effort there from Borsema, just trying to get Dom in on the action right there. Got a couple of really good touches. That one just slipped away, just nearly clipping the line. Instead of being a tie game, it's 3-1 Kentucky.
Trinity Ward continues her serve, the sophomore from Louisville. That's a hard one that goes back across to the Wildcats. Opposite side blocked, and that's going to be a point for the Hoosiers. Couple of Hoosiers in front. Looks like Borsema got the most of it. Indiana gets the point back.
Yeah, we've been calling her name a lot in the early going. Looks like her knee is back and ready to go after that lower leg injury last year. Back in the action and maybe better than ever.
There's Vincent. Finds the middle of the court. Back and better than ever. She's got a firecracker of a serve.
And this is someone that the Hoosiers are very ecstatic about. Was a top 3 recruit in program history. Has gone through a lot throughout her life and has still managed to go through every obstacle with ease.
That one's handled this time. Goes cross court and then hits the top of the net. No touch, goes wide. Indiana levels it at 3.
So you have Vincent going back to the service line here. After her junior year, she overcame toxic shock syndrome, where actually she spent some time in the Riley Children's Hospital fighting for her life on life support, and now she's on the court here for the Hoosiers today.
It was great to see her come back last season, and now hopefully at full strength for Indiana, as that one's blocked and not handled by the Wildcats. Indiana has a little run going of their own. They're up 5-3.
4 straight points to the line caused by Vincent's amazing serves, and Indiana, you mentioned, on a run, looking to keep it going.
Vincent again goes back to Indiana quickly. Borsema. There's another one for the Hoosiers. Ella Borsema getting comfortable again back on the court here in Wilkinson Hall.
And Kentucky looking all out of sorts. Molly Tuozo right there on the dig was trying to dig it out and just couldn't get a good touch on it, and led to the easy point for Borsema.
Vincent handled cross court. The block just wasn't there in time. The point for the Wildcats. They get it back. It's 6-4 Hoosiers. Great back and forth here early.
That's Morgan Garchie, the Notre Dame transfer, an excellent athlete, except for with the wiffle ball bat. Saw a clip on the Kentucky social media page the other day where she had a bat go flying when they were playing their wiffle ball game.
Got to hold it with 2 hands. Krichkovich, Borsema in the middle, handled. Borsema again. Ella Borsema is feeling it. and she'll head over for the serve. Indiana up 7-4.
Yeah, see, libero and Trinity Ward just could not get to that ball. Tried digging it out, making a tough play on it, but this Indiana offensive attack has been relentless.
Borsema will be a junior in the fall. That's one low, but sent over by the Wildcats. Dugout, it's Left Ridge in the middle, across, it's blocked, and Indiana can't get it back over. There were a couple players there, including Lizzie Carr for the Wildcats, and Kentucky cuts it to 7-5.
And this is what Kentucky does. They, you know, sometimes might be a little bit down to start the action, and then their depth, their strengths just start to play out, and they get the offense going.
High serve, finds the edge. Indiana let it go, but it stays in, and Kentucky's back within one.
Garrity, a great serve right there, but something she's going to have to deal with is that rowdy Indiana student section. They make a lot of headlines, they make a lot of noise, and with the score being 6-7, they're hoping to extend it to 8-6, or 8, yeah.
Almost a collision between two Indiana players, miscommunication, and Kentucky has tied it at 7 on the block.
So it's been a game of runs so far, Ryan. Indiana got 5 straight points, and then now it's Kentucky with the run of their own, and we're knotted at 7s.
Garte will serve again. That one hits the top of the net, but makes its way over. Dug up by Clark. Clark will get it back. It was a little high for her, but she handles it. Lots of room for Kentucky. A short tap. Stays with the Wildcats. Quickly over. Krichkovich will find it. Clark. It goes long. It takes a touch, though, and Indiana will get the lead back.
And Indiana fans getting the first look at Izzy Clark, a newcomer to this team, a transfer from San Diego, spent 2 years at San Diego, and she was extremely effective there. 2-time first-team All-West Coast Conference, and was the West Coast Conference Freshman of the Year back in 2024.
From Orange County, California, so didn't travel far to go to San Diego. Now comes all the way across to Indiana. Siegel serve. Clark gets a tap on it and lets it go. I think she might have thought it was going to go to the other side of the net. Instead, it finds the ground, and they're even at 8 again.
I think also she may have gotten a piece of that one. Didn't want to get the double touch, just lets that one get down, and unfortunately for her, no one else to help her out, and it's 8-8.
Back and forth we go in this first set of this spring exhibition between the Hoosiers and the Kentucky Wildcats. That serve dug out by Jackson. Cross Clark. It goes long, but it took a touch. Indiana up 9-8.
Indiana really starting to get going here. Now Izzy Clark heading to the service line for the first time in an Indiana uniform. One of her strengths at San Diego was her efforts beyond the service line, and Indiana is hoping that that talent will translate to the Cream and Crimson.
Clark's serve was low, but a diving dig. Blocked by Krichkovich. She'll save it. Still alive for the Hoosiers. Jackson gets it over. Here come the Wildcats the other way. That one goes long. Did it take a touch? Yes, it did. Kentucky will get the point. But great effort from the Hoosiers. We're knotted up at 9.
So the Indiana fans were fired up at first, and as they should have been. Audrey Jackson, an incredible effort there to somehow keep that point alive. But just for a little bit as the rally comes to an end, and the Kentucky ties it up once more.
Clark will dig that one out to Krichkovich. Back to Clark. Blocked. And down. The Wildcats take the lead 10-9.
It's their first lead since going up 1-0. And there's Thigpen getting involved in the action right there for the Wildcats. Great play to give them the lead, and they win the race to double digits.
10-9 early in this first set. That serve well long. Indiana leaves it, and we're knotted back up at 10.
Back and forth we go, and serving specialist coming on here for the Indiana Hoosiers. That'll be Avery Freeman. Smallest player on the team, standing at only 5'3", but she gets a lot of aces, and that's why she's out there.
She sends that one long and far outside the corner. A service error for the sophomore from Bloomington. She'll head out and be replaced by Jackson. Freeman made a big impact as a freshman last season, helping Indiana to that outstanding year that they had.
Had 119 digs last season.
Krichkovich, cross, Borsema, tapped. It's short, crawling and saving it. And that one's blocked. Indiana gets the point despite the effort from the Wildcats and O'Brien. And another tie, this time at 11.
So Big Pen, the former North Carolina Player of the Year, was trying to make a play on it, getting her second kill in 3 rallies, but could not do so, and it's Indiana with the point. 11-11, make a wish, Ryan.
Krichkovich gets it over, and there was just no one there in the middle to defend on Washington. That one found the ground in no time. Kentucky regains the lead.
That was a great assist right there. Everyone's looking to their left side of the court, the near side for us, and they just go to the middle, and Kennedy Washington, she makes an easy play, nobody home.
Washington, the junior from Glen Heights, Texas. 99 kills last season for Washington. Dug out by Clark. Krichkovich. Borsima with a little tap. It's saved by Jackson after the block. Krichkovich. Vinson rejected. Couple of players on the far side. One of them was Washington, along with Garte. Kentucky takes a 2-point lead.
And you see why Kentucky brought in Garte for moments like that. The Notre Dame transfer has been huge to start off for Kentucky.
Back in Indiana, this time down south. Dug out by Vinston. Krichkovich, cross. Borsima. Too much to handle for Ward. Indiana gets one back.
And that's a tough play for any libero to make a play on, especially one of the best in the country, and unfortunately for her, could not do so. Relentless attack from Indiana. They want to keep playing fast.
Here comes Vincent again from that service line, and nobody there. Just so much on that serve, and a service ace
and a
for the sophomore.
Miscommunication there from Kentucky. Molly Tuozo went in for a dig, and it just got the wrong part of the hand. Trinity Ward was also in the area. Couldn't figure out who tried to make a play on it. Turned into an ace.
That one low for Vincent. A service error gives Kentucky the point back. Lots of substitution going on. Obviously, both teams want to get playing time for everybody in a spring exhibition like this. I think their biggest key is get experience and stay healthy. Washington's serve is dug out by Jackson across a tap, and it finds the floor. Avery Dom.
And I think that's really set up because Borsma's been involved in the action all across the middle of the floor, and then all of a sudden they go to the right side to the left, which has been the strength of Indiana, has been going to that left side. We saw that especially last year with Alonzo Cortez, and that trend continuing usually, but not in that rally.
Borsima's serve is handled on the near side a little long. They'll get the tap over. Krichkovich. Clark finds some space on the near side line and gives Indiana the lead.
And Indiana going back to their bread and butter, going to that far side for us, and Izzy Clark dropping the hammer. Indiana back in front.
Borsima will serve again with a 15-14 lead for the Hoosiers. First spring game for Indiana. That one kept alive. Took a touch on the block. Krichkovich. Dom. It's down. Thought maybe the hand got underneath it, but Avery Dom was there for the Hoosiers to get the point.
Dom doing a good job of splitting the defense, and it's been this Indiana attack. Some nice passes from Borsima that have just been working left to right and right to left.
Borsima will keep the serve, but it's short this time. A service error for Ella Borsima. Kentucky crawls back within one, 16-15.
So you can definitely tell it's spring ball, trying to get some of the kinks out. Seen a lot of service errors from both sides, really, and not too many long-standing rallies.
Garte with the serve. Lots of fire on that one. Krichkovich in the middle. What a dig. That was Gray. Another one from Matheny. And that one well long from Dom. No touch. And Kentucky gets a hard-earned point to even it at 16.
And just I'm saying, we haven't seen too many long rallies. While that wasn't the longest of rallies, it was a really solid rally, some really solid digs from both liberos, and Kentucky getting the point and tying the game right back up. Back and forth we go.
Garte dug out by Jackson. Krichkovich. Clark took a touch. Couldn't be handled by Tuzo. Indiana gets the lead 17-16. Great back and forth action here in this first set.
And Izzy Clark going to be a name that many Indiana fans are going to fall in love with. Has been playing really well so far in this first spring scrimmage, and expecting to see a lot of her throughout the season.
That one just gets over. It's dug out by Ward. Near side blocked by Krichkovich. Buse tried her, and Krichkovich said no way.
And Krichkovich, who's usually known for passing the ball, but right there getting involved on the offensive side, getting a point of her own. Indiana's lead up to 2.
Siegel keeps the serve. That one long. Ducking underneath it was Trinity Ward. Another service error makes it 18-17 Hoosiers.
But it's really nice for the Indiana Hoosiers to see Emma Siegel out there. Last 2 seasons, she's had both of her seasons cut short due to injury, so having her back out there is a huge asset for Indiana, and they're grateful that she's back on the court.
Berazowitz will serve for Kentucky. She gets it over. Krichkovich will go quickly. The deception from Teodora Krichkovich gives Indiana the 2-point lead.
And you can see why the freshman, or the incoming sophomore freshman last year, was on the All Big Ten team, not just the freshman team, the All Big Ten team, not just for her ability to pass the ball, but to get herself going on the offensive end as well. Another kill for her, her second in as many points for the Hoosiers.
Clark had the serve. Near side block on Thigpen. Now they'll go the other way. It took a touch. A diving Clark couldn't handle it. And the point to the Wildcats.
And while Izzy Clark is a decent defender and is able to dig the ball out, that's a really tough play for her to make, a tough position to put her in, and a great rally from Kentucky to go from one side to the other and to get the point back within 1.
Tuozo will serve for the Wildcats. A low one dug out. Krichkovich cross court. Vinson off the block and out for the point for the Hoosiers.
Charlotte Vinson getting going for this Indiana team. One of the highly talented prospects for this Indiana team. Didn't see as much action last year as maybe anticipated due to an injury to start the season, but once she got going, she was going, and Indiana's expecting her to take a huge jump this year.
Kentucky will take a quick timeout. We'll stay here and we'll talk about the upcoming spring schedule for the Hoosiers. This is their first spring match. They'll play in about 9 days in Fishers against Purdue ahead of an Indy Ignite game. That's an exciting event for volleyball fans in Indiana and the rivalry matchup for the Hoosiers.
Oh yeah, I mean, you get a 2-1 volleyball game, let alone one of the best rivalries in all of college sports, and you get an Indiana fan base that, you know, kind of a middle ground for them meeting in Fishers, so it'll be a nice crowd on hand, I imagine, and both of them will put the beef aside and take alliances and root for the Indy Ignite.
Absolutely, and a great night for volleyball fans in the state. For Kentucky, as we mentioned, they've already played 2 exhibitions. They'll play Louisville next week at home. That'll be it for their spring season. However, the start of their fall season, it may not be their first game, but it's the only game on their calendar so far to head up to Wrigley Field and face Penn State at the historic stadium. That's a great opportunity for the Wildcats as part of the Big Ten SEC Challenge.
Yeah, and there's a couple other games involved in that as well, not just the Wrigley Field game. Indiana involved in the Big Ten SEC Challenge in their own right with a couple tough SEC opponents. They faced Georgia and the defending national champions who knocked off Kentucky in the national championship in Texas A&M the next day. Those games will be at Purdue, ironically enough, and they won't be facing the Boilers while they're out there.
An interesting start to the season next year. The Hoosiers have 2 more spring matches after the Purdue one, but they're both closed to the public. They'll play IU Indy and Miami of Ohio here in Bloomington as Freeman starts us off out of the timeout. Borsema got the tap, met up with O'Brien, and it finds the floor for Indiana to take a 3-point lead.
And it's been really impressive from Krichkovich, starting to set the tone here down the stretch in this first set. She's been doing it all offensively. First she started with the passing, now she's doing it on her own.
Freeman serve, dug out by Thigpen. In the middle, flying across was Giarte. And it went way out off the deflection. Flying like Superwoman in the middle there.
Went all the way into the stands, and that one went flying like you said. And now Kentucky, who in danger of losing this first set, needs to get some points on the board, and they're looking for one of their better servers to do it.
21-19, Krichkovich. Vinson off the block and out again. She's feeling it this evening.
Yeah, Charlotte Vinson is on an absolute tear right now, and it's no surprise in her high school career as a senior, she led the state of Indiana in kills, so now looking to lead her team Indiana in kills this season.
Krichkovich's serve just over the net. Tuozo across, that one long by Giarte. No touch, another point for Indiana. They have a commanding 4-point advantage with Just 2 to go to try to win the set, and Kentucky will take another timeout. We'll take a break with them. We'll be right back. You're watching volleyball on Big Ten Plus. Welcome back into Wilkinson Hall here in Bloomington, Indiana. The Hoosiers lead the Kentucky Wildcats 23-19 in the first set of this spring exhibition. Ryan Lapidus here with Sam Egan. It's been a fun back and forth match so far.
Yeah, it's been extremely fun, and for this Indiana team, having a lot of fun in this first set, getting everybody involved so far.
Krichkovich's serve, handled by Berezowicz. Across, it gets tipped on the block. Vincent to Krichkovich. Borsama in the middle. Kept alive by the Wildcats. It'll be sent over by O'Brien. Jackson, Krichkovich, Vincent dug out by Tuozo in the middle. This time Kennedy Washington finds the floor for Kentucky.
Yeah, nice rally, and it's won by Kentucky here. So a 3-point game now. They're starting to cut into this deficit a little bit, which is what they need.
Trinity Ward will serve for Kentucky. Down by 3. Alive, Indiana gives a free ball up. Ward in the middle, blocked. Ella Borsama.
Wow, what a play from Ella Borsama right there. The crowd is on their feet. No, 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 not today.
Borsama has the serve with another chance for Indiana to win the first set.
Second set point of the set.
Borsama's serve is a service error, and we're even again at 25.
So a couple service errors at set point, 25-25. In volleyball, you gotta win by 2.
Gayarte, the junior from Angola, Indiana. Her serve dug out by Jackson. Krichkovich, Clark. The dig by Tuozo. Kept alive in the middle. Gayarte dug out and then tapped down. Lizzie Carr from the middle. And it's Kentucky's first set point. Timeout, Indiana.
And much needed timeout for Indiana. Just 2 points away from the set, and all of a sudden now Kentucky just 1 point away from getting it done. Both teams out of their timeouts, at least for the set.
And incredible back and forth action. We'll stick with you here for the timeout. First set point coming for Kentucky as we've just gone back and forth here at the end of the set. Indiana's had 2 chances to win it. Now they'll have to fight back.
So now looking back at that play, Lizzie Carr, unbelievable effort, but she's now part of that pipeline of players from Purdue who have transferred from Purdue to Kentucky, and she's hoping to have similar to success as to what Eva Hudson has. Was a nominee for not just National Player of the Year, was an All-American, best player in the SEC, and wound that into a career and getting drafted into the pro volleyball, and she's playing in Atlanta now.
That transfer portal becoming a big thing, and as you've now pointed out, a little bit of a Purdue to Kentucky pipeline going on, and Kentucky now in this spring match against Indiana is trying to win the first set, come from behind. They were down by 4 points. It was 23-19.
And it's Carr who's trying to emulate that success that Hudson had last year with Kentucky, transferring to the program, taking them to the national championship game where they evidently went down. But if Carr could have a similar trajectory, it could be another fun year for the Wildcats.
Gayarte will serve for the Wildcats in their first set point here in Bloomington. A low dig by Jackson. Across. It's tapped over by Dom. In the middle. Guess who? Lizzie Carr. Kentucky takes the first set 27-25.
And a great play from Lizzie Carr, starting to cement herself as a Kentucky Wildcat. Only announced her transfer to Kentucky on Wednesday. Quick flip here from last week.
Kentucky takes the first set here in Bloomington. We'll be back in a few for set number 2 between the Hoosiers and the Wildcats here on Big Ten Plus.
When congestion gets in the way, flush it out with extra strength Afrin saline with seawater. Wow, extra strength for daily relief.
Their attack going at full force. They're starting to attack the side of the hands for Indiana, the side of the arms, which has really been working, forcing bad touches and quick points.
Carr with the serve. Snowbarger across. That one tipped. In the middle, Washington kept alive by the Hoosiers. Clark goes cross court. Gets the point back for the Hoosiers.
Yeah, a couple California natives on the court. That's another one in Izzy Clark, a Mater Dei graduate, won a national championship back in high school at Mater Dei.
Famous athletic programs at Mater Dei. That's another service error for the Hoosiers. This time it's Borsema. 4-2, Kentucky leads.
So in the last set, we saw Indiana control most of it, had the lead for about 85% of the set, and then Kentucky came clawing back, and for Indiana, they need to go quickly, otherwise it could be a similar fate.
Clark's return went long, and Washington made her pay, giving Kentucky the 5-2 lead.
Kentucky really starting to get going right now.
They're dangerous when they get all the cylinders firing. Snowbarger with the dig, a little miscommunication. Indiana able to get the ball over. Kentucky across, Thigpen goes short and down for another Kentucky point.
That was a great soft touch there by Thigpen, who was the #1 player coming out of North Carolina in her class. So they look at her as one of the highly talented freshmen that could be a Wildcat for the next, hopefully, 4 years and make a big impact in her time in the blue and white.
O'Brien's short serve dug out. No net touch. Sent across by Leftridge. Cross court. Ilawale dodges the ball and it goes out for an Indiana point.
And that one was coming in at such a high velocity that even if you try to make a play on it, I don't think you can, of just the way it was coming in.
That looked like the Matrix for Ilawale. In to serve is Matheny, freshman from Columbus, Ohio. Her low serve is handled. A little miscommunication. It's sent over back to Indiana. It's over to Vincent. A little long for her. Blocked and sent back. Vincent again. Tipped. Kept alive by the Wildcats. Across to Thigpen. She's blocked. Big rally here for both sides. That one's rejected, but on the Indiana side for a Kentucky point.
And there's Victoria Gray getting in on the action right there. One of quite a few players on this Indiana team who were part of that 2024 class, which was the highest ranked recruiting class in school history. Sorry, the 2025 class, and now this year's class looking to follow suit.
Thigpen serve across and not able to get it over is Gray. Falling away from the ball. Another point for the Wildcats. They're up 5 here in the second set.
And the Wildcats are rolling here, and no timeout used yet by Indiana, but you got to feel if they start continuing this run any further, timeout will be called.
Snowbarger handled that. It's across to Clark. Nice dig from Thigpen for the Wildcats. That one down for Georgia Watson. Another point for Kentucky. They're up 6, and Indiana's going to take a timeout, a much-needed one. They fall behind here early in the second set. We'll take a quick break. Stick with us on Big Ten Plus.
When congestion has you feeling off, Turn on new Afrin Saline, made with seawater, and feel the rush of extra strength daily relief.
Wow.
Afrin Saline. Now, the wow is real every day.
Welcome back into Wilkinson Hall. Kentucky, with a 1-0 lead, has a commanding 9-3 lead early here in the second set in this spring match. Ryan Lapidus here with Sam Egan. Sam, Kentucky's really dominated so far in the second set.
Yeah, they've just looked like a different team from that first set. Really the last, I'd probably say 25 total points dating back to last set. It's been all Kentucky.
This time Clark, a couple diving saves for the Wildcats, and they find the back corner. Man, Kentucky's really feeling it here, up 10-3 in the second set.
Yeah, if you need a video or a definition of how Kentucky is dominating this set, look no further than that last play.
Across, Vinson with a lot of heat on it. It's handled, but then a miscommunication by Kentucky. Indiana gets the point back via Vinson.
So Indiana finally back on the board, but that last play, what an incredible effort. It looked like it was just going to be a free ball opportunity that turned into a play for Asa Thigpen, and she just found the corner and got an easy point, but Indiana was able to get it right back and hoping to start a rally here to get right back in it.
Izzy Clark, newcomer to the Hoosiers, will serve. It hits the top of the net, but stays alive. Short tap is blocked by Gray, kept alive by Kentucky. They'll send over a free ball. Vinson over in the middle, Victoria Gray. Did it take a touch? No, says the referee. Another point for Kentucky.
The referee just having to get out of the way of that one coming right at him, but no touch from Kentucky there, playing it real wisely, and Indiana just gets 1 point and cannot get a rally going and start a little run to keep this chomp at it.
Kentucky would be happy to trade points the rest of the way. Matheny, her set was a little far, kept alive. Vinson goes over quickly, but Kentucky was ready for it. Tap down, and there's going to be a violation called. Point to Indiana.
I think it was O'Brien's foot that was over the line and caused a little bit of interference right there, and a point for Indiana nonetheless, and one they desperately need, and now's the time for them to, start chopping at the deficit.
Left Ridge will serve. Handled by Thigpen, across, block, off the block. It goes out, another point for Kentucky. That was Hannah Benjamin with the kill.
There's a nice effort from Benjamin right there. First time we've really called her name all night, but looking to get things going here for Kentucky on the offensive end.
Misplay of the ball by Ward, getting ready to serve. She gets it over this time, and a miscommunication between a couple Hoosiers. A service ace.
That Kentucky bench is fired up right now, and as they should be. Ward, who had a really tough play, thought the student section was in their head. The student section was going nuts, and then responds with a great serve, and there's Indiana that was all out of sorts.
Even though this is an exhibition, this is still volleyball. It's still serious to both these teams, as the kill for Ella Borsema gives the points back to Indiana.
Oh, for sure. And these are two schools that don't particularly like each other either, just being separated by a couple of hours. And whenever they get a chance to play, there's a lot of animosity between both fan bases. And you can see here, there's a lot of fans in attendance for just an exhibition game.
A great opportunity for Hoosier fans and Kentucky fans to see their teams after some off-season hiatus. That one takes a tap, kept alive by Clark, then Ilawale. Last chance now for Left Ridge. She gets it over. Kentucky will reset, try to go quickly. The block, and it's down for a point for the Hoosiers, 13-7.
Indiana, they want to get back in it. This is the largest deficit for either team all day before that last point for Indiana. So they're going to have to go quickly, and Ilawawe, who has been really effective last season behind the service line, looks to go right back at it.
Gets it just over. Cross court, goes long, takes a touch though, and Kentucky gets the point back. They're up by a football score, 14-7.
And not often you see Indiana in any sport down 14-7. But it's Kentucky who is really starting to just run away with this first set. And Indiana has had a lot of touches where they've just barely tipped the volleyball trying to make a play on a play that they probably couldn't make, and it's led to Kentucky points throughout the second set.
Ilawale in the middle to Borsama. A diving save by Ward. It'll go back to Thigpen, saved by Ilawale. Leffridge across. Did that one take a touch? No, it goes wide off of Snowbarger. Another point for Kentucky, 15-7.
And what's really impressed me about Kentucky is their ability to just stay off the balls that look like are going to go out of play, and unlike Indiana, have just had really good discipline here in the second set.
Clark with the dig. Ilawale cross court. Borsama blocked. And down for another Kentucky point. They're up 9 here in the second set.
It's a big blue wall right now for Kentucky. Indiana can't get anything past that front line, and it's showing here with Kentucky on an unbelievable run here in the second set.
It's broken now with a service error by Hannah Benjamin. Indiana gets a point back, but they're still being doubled up 16-8 in the second set.
So Indiana obviously just want to approach just one at a time. Obviously a lot for them. A lot of freshmen on the court trying to get some new experience out there for a team that is still kind of unexperienced.
A service ace for the freshman Sarah Snowbarger. That's got to feel good. Your first time playing in front of fans in this building.
Yeah, this is an Indiana team who has a lot of freshmen who stepped up last year, and they're hoping for a lot of the same from this recruiting class of 2026.
Cross court, Thigpen is blocked. Couple of Hoosiers there. That one gets its way through the block and underneath Leffridge for another Kentucky point. They're up 17-9. You mentioned the freshman talent for Indiana. I think the most outstanding, you can debate between Krichkovich or Jaden Jaeger for contributions for the Hoosiers as freshmen last year.
Jaeger not in the lineup today for the Hoosiers, but they're building off of that as Indiana only has 2 seniors on the team and only 1 playing today.
Absolutely, and there's a service error to give the point back to the Hoosiers. 17-10 for Kentucky. As we mentioned, 3 players not playing for the Hoosiers today. That's the senior Ava Vickers, the sophomore Jaden Jaeger, and the graduate student Kiki Granberry. That one's across. Here comes Thigpen. It takes a deflection. Snowbarger keeps it alive. Ilawale over to Clark. Gets a good hit on it on a broken play. Thigpen again goes long. Did it take a touch? No. Indiana gets the point on a very solid rally.
Indiana doing a good job of staying away from that ball. There's a good play that was kind of set up by Ilawale right there. A really tough pass that'll go underappreciated, but that over the head, behind the head pass is really difficult.
Yeah, ended up getting a good hit on it, did Clark. Emma Siegel will serve for the Hoosiers. That one finds its way across. Diving save by Berazowitz. And Ilawale can't find it. Another point for Kentucky, 18-11. Substitution, here comes Ella Borsama for the Hoosiers. Coming in is Georgia Watson for the Wildcats.
And it seems like Kentucky's really started to figure something out. They've found something in this Indiana attack this second set. Doesn't matter if they go near side, go far side, go up, down on the court. They've been just able to find openings on this Indiana defense throughout this entire second set.
Ilawale in the middle. Quickly, Victoria Gray put some fire behind that one to get the point back for Indiana.
Yeah, that one coming in at a sick velocity and a tough play for anyone to make. Gray gets the point right back for Indiana and hoping to keep things going quickly back to the service line.
Indiana down 6 here, just past midway through the second set. Dug out in the middle. Kennedy Washington shuts down Indiana and gives Kentucky the 7-point lead back.
And you mentioned this earlier in the set that if Kentucky was just trading points the rest of the set, they would be perfectly okay with that, and that's kind of exactly what they've been doing. Indiana's been getting points, getting just an ounce of momentum, and before they can get anything further, Kentucky just takes it right back.
Indiana hasn't been able to take advantage of the service opportunities. Not a lot of service aces in this set as Vincent sends it long. Another mistake for the Hoosiers. It's 20-12 Kentucky. They are about to run away with this second set.
And I think this Indiana team, the second set, is really showing how much they miss Kričević. One of the best passers, not just on the team, but in the entire country.
Kričević as Vinson gets the kill for the Hoosiers. Gets underneath Molly Tuozo. Krichkovic played in the first set, not in here in the second set. Obviously, the Hoosiers trying out different lineups to get people work, especially with Krichkovic getting so much work as the setter last season. Trying to work on that depth are the Hoosiers. Clark serve, dug out by Tuozo. Across, it goes out. Georgia Watson sent it wide. Indiana gets another point. It's 20-14.
Yeah, quickly clawing away. Indiana just wants to make this as competitive as the second set as possible without probably their star player on the court in Kričević. Struggle a little bit with passing the volleyball, and now they're hoping a couple of errors can get him right back in it.
Izzy Clark serve, dug out by Benjamin. Across, takes a tap. Clark keeps it alive, but Gray can't get it over the net. The point goes to Kentucky, but that's great effort from Izzy Clark.
And I think there's a smart idea for Victoria Gray, trying to go with only 2 touches. Kentucky's defense was not in the correct position to try and get a return. Unfortunately for her, just off the net and down. Another football score, 21-14.
21-14. Football helps you work on your 7 multiplication table. Here's Leftridge across. Vinson is blocked. Rejected. Hannah Benjamin, the redshirt sophomore from Atlanta, Georgia. It's 22-14 Kentucky.
Yeah, Benjamin, the number 9 nationally ranked player in hit percentage last year, a 509. Just impressive stuff.
That serve is low, dug out. Vinson keeps it alive. A couple of Hoosiers try to get it over the net, but they cannot. A little miscommunication between Leftridge and Clark. Kentucky up by 9, 2 points away from a second set win.
There's Indiana, who's 2 points away from the second set victory. Now, they were only within 4 points, Kentucky was, and Indiana has a lot more ground to claim. But if they want to do it, it's not out of the cards.
Short one. Vinson with a lot of heat on it. Goes off of Tuozo, off the net, and finds the ground. Vinson looks like the more she gets comfortable, the better she plays.
Yeah, but Tuozo right there trying to get a set on that play right there, and couldn't get the ball straight up, got the side of her hand, and a great play right there.
Leftridge, service ace. Caught the Wildcats up high. Indiana gets a couple in a row. It's 23-16.
And checking his service specialist, had an error in the first set, but a couple aces in a row for her, and she's been attacking high, and it's been working just fine.
Leftridge's serve was a little long, and it's another point for the Hoosiers as Kentucky could just not handle it. That's 3 in a row. It's 23-17.
Yeah, she's on a roll right now in this set. Indiana on a 3-0 run right now all of a sudden.
And a Leftridge serve taps the top of the net but finds its way over. It goes across a block, a solo block from Snowbarger, another block from Vinson. Now on the near side, a tip on Vinson, kept alive. Leftridge goes across. Snowbarger is blocked herself. Borsema taps it over. Little reset for Kentucky. It goes across to Watson. Takes a touch out of bounds. Point to Kentucky, and they're 1 point away from winning the second set.
So set point here once again for Kentucky. The lone set point they had back in set 1, they converted after Indiana was 0 for 2 on their set point opportunities.
The Kentucky fans across the court from us rise to their feet. 24-17. It's Georgia Watson, the sophomore, with the serve. It goes out for a service error. Indiana stays alive. It's 24-18.
Indiana gonna need at least a 6-0 rally to keep this set alive for now. And it's Ilawe who had a nice start at the service line earlier in the second set. Back at it for another run.
Second set point for Kentucky here in the second set. Say that 3 times fast. Ilawale gets it over. In the middle, flying, blocked. Ella Borsema blocks it into the face of Trinity Ward. She looks to be all right. But oh my goodness. Coming across was Thigpen, and Borsema said no way.
Yeah, that was lethal.
Third set point for Kentucky here in the second set. Ilawale serve, dug out by Thigpen, across that one. Ilawale will dig it out. Leftridge across Snowbarger, kept alive by Tuozo. That was Ward. blocked, kept alive, back over. Excuse me, that was Benjamin. Alive over to Snowbarger. Across to Vinson. Kept alive by Garte. Across on the tap. It goes out, and a point to Kentucky.
Now, I thought that initial attack from Kentucky may have not gone across the candy cane line, which wouldn't have resulted in a point. Didn't get a great look of it, of course, because it was on the far side. Nonetheless, Kentucky gets the point, and they start off set 3 where set 2 ended with a point for Kentucky.
A 2-0 lead in the sets. This one dug out. Fickle across Borsema. Two-handed save. Snowbarger went again. It stayed on the Indiana side here. Snowbarger on the tap. Berezowicz near side, flying across, saved, but goes out into the crowd. Another point for the Wildcats.
Yeah, a dig attempt by Fickle just got the wrong part of the hand, just got too much mustard on it. Went right back in the seats, and Kentucky up 2-0. Luca Fickle, the daughter of Wisconsin football coach Luke Fickle.
Tuozo with the serve, touches the top of the net, but it's kept alive. Fickle across. Vincent had to do a tap instead. O'Brien in the middle. That one is blocked, but goes out wide, and Kentucky up 3-0 in the third set.
Yeah, Kentucky is on a roll right now, and some of their better players in the lineup right now are on the floor.
Tuozo continues the serve for Kentucky, a high looping one. Fickle in the middle is Clark, kept alive. Now across Washington, Indiana keeps it going with Vinson. The block goes back over to the Indiana side of the net. Vinson will have a go again. Off the block and down. It goes off of O'Brien. Vinson gets the first point for Indiana in this third set.
Yeah, and if at first you don't succeed, try again. That's what Vincent did. A couple attempts, finally gets the kill in the first Indiana point of set number 3.
3-1 Kentucky leads in the set. Sarah Snowbarger will serve for Indiana. Easily dug out. Delay will have a go, and she gets the kill on Izzy Clark. Kentucky strikes right back.
Yeah, we've seen a couple times now where Kentucky has just gone right at Izzy Clark and has been unable to dig it out. So great offense from Kentucky to just going right at her. And, I mean, those are almost nearly impossible plays to stop with how hard they are coming at her.
O'Brien's serve is handled by Snowbarger. Goes across to Clark with a little tap. It takes a deflection off of O'Brien. And it'll be another point for Indiana, 4-2.
Yeah, giving O'Brien a little taste of her own medicine, and now Clark going right at her and getting the point. Soft touch work, got a little bit of a tip right there, and this lead is now sliced nearly in half, now being 4-2.
Siegel will serve for the Hoosiers. Just over. O'Brien. That one may have took a deflection, but nonetheless it goes down on the Indiana side inbounds. Another point for Kentucky. Another kill for Brooklyn Delay.
Delay, who was one of the best players in the entire country last year, an All-American nominee. And they're expecting her to come back with Eva Hudson departing to be the number 1, to be the guy on this team.
Senior from Topeka, Kansas, has a service error. 5-3 Kentucky leads. The senior last year, 545 kills, good for 4.58 kills per set with a .279 hitting percentage.
Yeah, no, her and Hudson's connection last year was just phenomenal. A dynamic duo like Kentucky may have never seen, and one where they're definitely going to miss not having it back this year, but having at least one of the two back is huge.
Matheny goes to the ground to keep it alive. Clark, did it take a tap? No, says the referee. Point to Kentucky. They're doubling up Indiana 6-3 right now.
And it's been Kentucky who has really just been trading points with Indiana. Indiana will get a point on the board, and they'll get 1 or 2 in response. And it's just been kind of hard for Indiana to respond when Kentucky is just shutting down any momentum they have in an instant.
Serve will come from Trinity Ward. Dug out by Snowbarger. Across, a tap. Kept alive by Kentucky. And that is an easy kill for Gayarte, at least making it look easy. Kentucky up 7-3.
Yeah, Gayarte, who's made it look easy all day long. The Notre Dame transfer fitting in perfectly fine here in the blue and white.
Trinity Ward continuing the serve. Kept alive by Indiana. Clark. O'Brien, a tap by Thigpen. Indiana keeps it going. Clark and rejected. It was still alive for a little bit there. I'm not sure Indiana realized it, but rejected by Lizzie Carr. Kentucky up 8-3.
Yeah, Lizzie Carr going to work here in this ball game today. She finished the first set with a hammer, and now, after not seeing too much action in set 2, back out there for set 3, looking to seal the deal.
Trinity Ward goes at it again. Across and rejected. Lizzie Carr does it again.
Who else but Lizzie Carr? Back-to-back blocks, a 6'6" middle blocker. We mentioned she just transferred from Purdue, announced her transfer just Wednesday. So 2 days after announcing she's in the Big Blue, she's with the Big Blue.
Big Blue Wall. As you mentioned earlier, across. Indiana finally gets a point back, courtesy of Victoria Gray. It's 9-4. Kentucky leads here in the third set.
Kentucky really starting to play some really good volleyball, but Indiana responding nicely there with the point. But for Indiana, it's just been back and forth with the points for Indiana right now. They need a little bit of a rally.
Clark, O'Brien, and it looks like possibly a double hit. Nonetheless, a point for Kentucky gets them up to 10-4.
And a costly error for a team that, you know, is really trying to just get back in this game, start stringing together points. And when you can't get any momentum, when you can only get stonewalled when you're trying to get your offensive attack going, it's really difficult.
That one somehow kept alive. What a play. O'Brien in the middle, and it finds the ground. Going across, it was Lizzie Carr. Indiana needs a timeout. They're down 11-4.
Yeah, it was a great dig right there, but unfortunately for Indiana, you get the dig, but you force a free ball, and Kentucky, with Indiana all out of sorts on the defending position, just gets the easy point right back. And just like that second set, it's been all Kentucky from the first serve of the sets.
Indiana needs a timeout. They're down 11-4 here in the third set. We'll take a quick break. You're watching Volleyball on Big Ten Plus. Welcome back into Wilkinson Hall here in Bloomington, Indiana. Ryan Lapidus, Sam Egan here for this spring match between Kentucky and Indiana. Kentucky leads 2-0 and leads the third set 11-4.
The third spring match for Kentucky, and this is the best they've looked in the first 3 games.
Service error, however, from Gayarte. Indiana gets the point back. It's 11-5. A couple substitutions, and serving will be Avery Freeman, the Bloomington native.
So 1 of 3 Averys on this Indiana team.
An Avery-heavy squad. Across, Thigpen got it blocked, but it went down on the Indiana side. Kentucky up 12-5 in the third set.
Kentucky's offense has been relentless. They have not given Indiana any breaks, and on top of that, their defense has been just as stellar with the big blue blockers out in front.
That big blue wall, as we've coined it. Across, Snowbarger was blocked. It's kept alive. Across again, it's tipped. Indiana has to scramble. Freeman, Snowbarger, and it goes long. And Kentucky now 13-5 the advantage.
Yeah, they're trying to get Carr going on that previous setup. Went to the right side instead, a little bit of a fake, and caused that Indiana defense to once again be a little bit out of sorts and not get their best offensive rally forward.
Barazowitz's serve was a high one. in the middle. Borsama dug out by Berezowitz. That one was a tough one for Delay. And then Kentucky just keeps on going.
Yeah, it's Lizzie Carr who keeps on keeping on. What more can we say about the 6'6" blocker just coming from Purdue and looking to follow in Eva Hudson's footsteps? And the way she's played right now, Kentucky fans got to be ecstatic of her recent arrival.
Across and rejected. Brooklyn Delay standing tall. A 10-point advantage for Kentucky.
So it's one thing when you can get the dual blocks. When you can have two players on your front line who are capable of getting a solo block and point at any given time like you have with this Kentucky squad, they are dangerous.
Berezowitz with the service ace. Kentucky, with the biggest lead they've had in any set, is up 16-5. Indiana needs a timeout. We'll take a break with them. Kentucky has the Hoosiers on the ropes. You're watching volleyball on Big Ten Plus. Wilkinson Hall here in Bloomington, Indiana, the site for this spring matchup between Indiana and Kentucky. 16-5, Kentucky leads the third set. They lead 2-0. They have Indiana on the ropes. Snowbarger digs it out, but it was a tough play. Clark will keep it alive. O'Brien across and way high. Did it take a touch, though? It did. Brooklyn Delay will get another one for Kentucky. It's 17-5.
You mentioned Delay last year being an All-American. They're hoping that dynamic duo they had with Delay and Hudson can now be formed into a dynamic duo with Delay. And now Carr could be potentially both All-Americans by the end of season's end.
Berezowitz easily taken by Borsama. Across and rejected. Guess who? Brooklyn Delay is putting on a clinic here in Bloomington, especially in this third set.
This has been unbelievable. Delay, who's been kind of quiet the first two sets, and there's Carr, who's kind of stealing the show along with Janchi, but now getting involved is Delay as well. My goodness.
Berezowitz continues the serve. Borsama gets the point for Indiana. A little miscommunication between O'Brien and Carr. It's 18-6.
It's Indiana with a much-needed point right there. Get any momentum they can get, send Fickle to the line, and hopefully, at least for starters, trim it to single digits.
Into serve, Luca Fickle, the senior from Cincinnati. Handled by Berezowitz. O'Brien across. Carr, it took a deflection, a whistle, and a net violation on the Hoosiers. Kentucky up 19-6.
And the net presence of Delay and Carr have just caused a lot of chaos for this Indiana team. Their ability to get solo blocks have now forced into errors at the net, and it's all out of sorts for this Hoosier team right now in the last two sets.
Tuozo has sent it over. Vinson was blocked, but it's going to go out. Indiana gets the point. It's been fun to see Vinson in active play, as last season she only came in 11 matches, and that was only to come in for the serve. It's been good to see her out in regular play. 19-7, the lead for Kentucky in the third set. Snowbarger Gets it in, O'Brien. And Gayarte with the kill off the block. 20-7. The Kentucky lead in the third set. That's another football score.
We've had a lot of those today. Fortunately for Indiana, they've been at 7 for a lot of those.
O'Brien, service ace. 21-7, the Kentucky lead. Just dominating in the third set. Indiana seems to be running out of gas. They have, and obviously on purpose, they're trying to get the experience in, but they have been playing without Krichkovich since the first set.
Yeah, and it's just gotten worse and worse for this Indiana team without their star player on the court.
Vinson, it goes wide out. 22-7, the Kentucky lead in the third set. As we mentioned, we were told that if it's a sweep, there's a possibility that they'll play a fourth set, as it's just a spring exhibition match. Experience and staying healthy, the name of the game this evening in Bloomington. Across to Vinson, that takes a touch. O'Brien will keep it alive. Across, that one is in for Gayarte. 23-7 Kentucky in the third set.
And at least what I've noticed so far, Kentucky has their full lineup. Obviously, a lot of their players are new players, are incoming freshmen, are incoming transfers. So this is a perfect opportunity for them to get acclimated with themselves.
Freeman with the dig. Across to Clark. Takes a touch. A long set off the net. Indiana gets the point back. 23-8. And a few substitutions for the Hoosiers. Gray comes in along with Siegel, who will serve for the Hoosiers.
And building off that last point, for Indiana, a lot of their star players last year, a lot of their best players are returning. They're sophomores this year, they're juniors this year, so they're all coming back. They're all pretty well acclimated with each other.
There's a service error from Siegel. Obviously, the big hole for Indiana is Avery Tatum and Candela Alonzo Cortez, seniors graduating. I believe I saw Avery Tatum here this evening cheering on her squad. Cortez, I believe, is out there playing pro right now.
She's playing pro.
24-8, Kentucky with a set point here in the third set. In the middle, kept alive. Chance for the Wildcats. It's blocked. But it's a Kentucky point, and they win the third set. Kentucky